Hi everyone, Gunner here. Thought I'd do a quick review video here of different sorts of equipment and gear that you're going to need as a MagFed player when you're out on the field. Now, I mentioned in one of my previous videos that one of the most important things that you're going to need for a game of MagFed Paintball is your assault rig. I've got mine here. This is the one that I like to use. This particular one here is a Condor tactical, a Condor Gunner's vest. This is a really nice vest. It's very well made. This is a really good quality product. You can see here it's covered in all this mold webbing here to allow you to put all your attachments on. It's got the front plate here. It's also got the back plate here with this Velcro here, so you can have like your name patch or your team's name on the back here. The reason I went for the Gunner's plate carrier here is because the side vents here also have the mold webbing on, which allows you to carry gear on your sides. Condor also do a lightweight version of this, where you only have the front and the rear plate. I think it's called their Scout plate carrier, I think that one's called. And they also do the Cyclone one, which is a heavier duty version of this. So now that we've got the plate carrier in, we need to start putting all of our different attachments on it. The first thing you're going to need on here is you're going to need to be able to carry your magazine pouches. Again, I've gone for some Condor magazine pouches. The ones I've gone for are these here. This is a Condor's triple M4 M16 magazine pouches. These particular ones are the Kangaroo pouches. You can see on the front here they've got loops for pistol mags, so if you've got something like a Tippmann TIPX and you've got the 7-round true feed mags, you can put those in there and they'll hold those quite nicely. That's what I'm planning on using them for anyway. Now, one of the things you will notice about magazine pouches like this is sometimes they can be a little bit hard to fit paintball mags in. The reason being is that paintball magazines here, because we use 68 caliber paintballs, they're a bit thicker than other magazines such as real AR mags or airsoft mags. That's the thing you need to appreciate, is that most sort of plate carrier and equipment stuff you find is designed for airsoft or real military usage. Therefore they use thinner mags. So be aware of that when you buy your magazine pouches. You need to make sure that they're gonna fit properly. I found the Condor ones are pretty good. I'll demonstrate that in a little bit. First things first, let's get this one attached. This first one I'm going to attach onto the front plate here. So we just thread the mold webbing in. Get it all buttoned up. There we go. That's our first 3 magazines on there, and we can also carry 3 Tippmann 7-round mags as well. You could also put things like CO2 sparklets in here as well if you wanted to. You'll notice they've also got these drain feeds at the bottom, so if you do get broken paint or water or whatever in there, they will drain away. You're going to need to clean it out as well though, but it's a nice little addition. One of the other things you'll notice about these magazine pouches is they've got these elasticated loops on here, which are good because of course it means you can put your magazines in and then you can put those over the top, stops them from falling out. We've got our first 3 mag pouches on here. We're going to need to add some more, so we're going to need a few more mag pouches. I've got another one here. This is a simpler one. This is just a 3 mag pouch. Again, it's in the same multicam as this one here. That one there was made by Condor, as is the vest. This one is made by 101 Inc. It's a little bit cheaper, and this one is a little bit tighter on the mags, but this was only £10. The Condor one, the Kangaroo one, that was £30. So there is a difference in price here, but all I need to do here is just carry a few extra magazines. Something you need to stop and consider here, if you watched my review of the Milsig M17 Elite, you'll have noticed that I kept on accidentally hitting the fire select switch on the side here when I was shooting left-handed. I always try and shoot right-handed. You need to consider which hand you shoot when you put your next magazine pouches on. The reason being is because you don't want to be reaching across yourself to reach for your magazines. Because I'm a right-handed shooter, I'm going to put this next magazine pouch on my left-hand side. That way when I reload, I can use my index finger to operate the mag release on the gun, which is on the side there. You push that button, magazine drops out. I can then use my left hand to put a fresh magazine into the gun. So, because we've got the loops on the side here that we can attach our extra mold webbing to, we're going to go ahead and we're going to put these extra magazine pouches on. So again, mold webbing allows us to do that very easily. Okay, there we go. So we now have 6 magazine pouches on the side here. We've got 3 on the front, 3 on the side. Now that we've got our magazine pouches on, we are going to need to put our mags somewhere once we've used them. Now, you can of course put your magazines back inside the pouches. In the middle of a firefight though, that is quite difficult and can be a bit stressful. You'll see a lot of people dropping their magazines on the ground. One of the things that I always use on my vest here is a magazine dump pouch, which I fit on the back here. Now, a magazine dump pouch is simply just a bag that holds your empty mags. Once you've used them, once you've finished with them, you simply take your magazines, drop them into the bag. You've got a drawstring here to pull it tight so you don't lose them. Holds onto the magazines really, really well and ensures basically you don't lose any mags, which of course you don't want to because magazines are quite expensive. Let's go ahead and get this attached. Again, this is made by 101 Tactical. This was only £10. For some reason they went for some rather wide mold loops on this particular one here. It does take a little bit, it's a bit fiddly trying to attach it to the vest, but overall it's not too bad. Something you need to bear in mind with your magazine dump pouch is where you're going to put it. Like I've said, and as you can see here, I'm attaching mine to the back of the vest. You may choose to put yours on the side or potentially have it hanging at your front. One of the things you do need to consider is when you do attach it, you don't want it to be flapping around. So of course I'm not putting it on the lowest most mold web here, I'm putting it on the second one. But of course if you do decide to put it slightly higher so it's not flapping around as much, bear in mind you're going to need to still be able to reach it in the middle of a firefight. Okay, there we go. That is our magazine dump pouch now attached. That is now easily accessible. I can reach behind me in the middle of a firefight, drop my mags in. Okay, so 6 bags of ammo and the dump pouch as well, so we can keep hold of our mags once we've used them. Still got this loop on the side here where we've still got space to attach some equipment. Now, I mentioned in a previous video that I like to use the 13 cubic inch bottles with the gas through stock. I don't like running a remote line, and I don't like having a large air tank. These are only good for about 100 shots. Once the gun's bedded in, maybe about 120 shots. Either way, you're still limited on air. That's why I always carry a spare one of these. You'll notice how I've got Milsig's node regulator on this one. The Milsig node regulator is a pinless release system, so it makes the airflow much smoother and much faster. This of course gives you better regulated airflow. These are kind of really necessary for the Milsig M17's full auto function. It makes it much better, makes it much more efficient. It also allows you the ability to switch your air on and off, because this collar here works like an on-off ASA, which is really useful. Of course it means it saves the threads on the tank here. Like I said, and if you've seen my previous videos, I carry a spare one of these, so I need somewhere on my vest to carry one of these. I'm also going to need to carry extra paint. So what I've got here is a Dye Tactical twin locking pod pouch. This is actually in Dye's own dye cam. You'll notice, however, it's actually quite a good match to the vest's multicam, which is really nice. It fits really well. This is going to allow me to carry an extra bottle and an extra pod of ammo. So let's go ahead and let's get this attached on the side. Okay, that is the basic setup that I use, so let's go ahead and let's start filling out with all our equipment. You can see here the Condor mag pouches, they take the paintball magazine pouches absolutely fine, not too tight, and they slip in out quite easily. These ones here on the side, these ones are the tighter ones. They don't take the magazines as easily, they still need time to bed in. One of the things that you can do in order to make these fit a little bit better is you can actually remove these elasticated loops here. They tend to free the magazines up a little bit. You'll notice here this is one of the first strike mags. These don't fit into the magazine pouches as well. They're not as smooth a fit, they don't slip in quite as easily. Oh, I stand corrected. Still got one final mag pouch available here. That magazine is currently in my gun at the moment. I'm going to leave it there for the moment. Now, on the side here, obviously, got my spare air tank. It goes in there. The thing I like about the die locking pod pouches is they are very, very secure, which is of course what you want with the 13 cubic inch bottle, especially with the node regulator, because that's an expensive piece of equipment in there. I use Dye's own 160 round pod tubes. These are some of the largest pods that you can get. Not only that, they've got the flipping lock lids on them, which are really, really nice. Okay, that's the basic setup that I use, that I've got all sorted there. I always find that it's better to be carrying more ammunition than air. The reason being is that in a lot of games that you play, they're going to have the air supply and the air refill stations actually on the field or just off the field. So rather than having to go all the way back to the staging area to refill ammo and air, I only need to refill air and then I can go straight back out again. This is really, really good for scenario games. Now, I've still got space left on this vest here. I've got mole webbing up the top here, and also I've got all this space on the back here. I can have grenade pouches, admin pouches, map pouches, a radio, any of all that sort of equipment. But what I'm actually going to use the front piece here for is, for these. These are 10 round stick tubes. These make refilling your magazines in-game much, much faster. If you watch my previous videos where I reviewed both the Milsig M17 and the TGR2, you'll have seen me having to refill my ammunition from the pod of paint. That's frustrating and you end up fumbling rounds all over the place. These make refilling your mags in-game much faster. And the great thing is these fit into the mole webbing loops. You can fit them in there. Okay, there we go. That's an extra 60 shots that we've got there. Each one of these 10 round tubes holds 10 rounds of paintball, funnily enough. You can also use them to carry first strike rounds. This is enough to quickly refill 3 of these magazines, which is really, really useful. One of the other things that I like about these, this Condor vest here is you've got these loops on the top here, these pieces here. You can adjust these and open them up to allow you to put stuff in here. When I get my Tipman TIPX pistol, I'm going to use these to hold my 20 round Zeta mags. You can basically thrust those into your shoulder pads there, or you can simply just remove them altogether if you don't want them, if you don't want to use them. They come off very easily. You've also got these loops here on the side here. You can run something like a camelback. You can run like a water supply through there if you want to, or potentially your remote line as well. You've got other ones on here as well that you can run your remote line through. You may not mind running a remote line or potentially running a larger air tank on the back. Obviously then you can do away with this side pouch and have a tank pouch on here. One of the things a lot of people do is they mount their tank pouch on their back high up, either sideways or upside down. Personal choice, personal preference, is up to you. that pretty much covers the rig. I'm going to go over a couple of other things. Oh, before I put the rig away, one of the things that you're going to want to carry as a mag-fed player is, because of course mag-fed paintball is a lot harder on paint, you're going to need to carry squeegees on you. Now I always carry two. The first one is one of these. This is an Empire Fluffy twin squeegee. Folds in half, really, really useful, and slips down the side of these pod pouches really easily. That's a really, really good way of storing them, really good way of carrying them. It keeps the fluffy nice and clean and tidy, because of course you're going to be running around. If your squeegee is not securely stored, it can get very muddy very quickly. Keeping it in there ensures that it stays nice and clean. That is not the only squeegee that I use though. The other squeegee that I use is one of these. This is a Python pull-through squeegee. For those of you who bought a Milsig M17, it came with a rubber pull-through squeegee. These discs were basically made of rubber, and it doesn't have this cloth patch on the end of it. It's okay in a pinch, but it's not really the sort of thing you want to be doing for sort of long-term maintenance on your marker. This one here is absolutely excellent, and because it's got multiple discs on here, you can use it multiple times. The amount of times I see people using a dirty squeegee to clean out their gun, and they wonder why they're still suffering with accuracy, because of course if you run a dirty squeegee through the gun, you're left with a dirty barrel. Using this, because of course the front disc here catches the majority of it, it's the first one to leave, which means if you run it through the gun again and this one here leaves behind any residue, the next one catches it, and the next one, and the next one, and you've got the cloth patch on the end here. So these are really, really good squeegees. Now the other sorts of equipment that you might want to carry out with you onto the field, and one that I strongly recommend you carry, is a microfiber cloth. This isn't specific to mag-fed paintball, you're going to want one of these anyway. The amount of times that I see people going back to the respawn point and they've been shot in the goggles and they're trying to wipe the shot off with their hand, they're just smearing it all over the place. I actually lend this out to quite a few people in the respawn point to help wipe off their hits. These are a lifesaver. The one I've got here is just a simple one that's just used for polishing and waxing cars. It's a fairly heavy duty one, and it's machine washable, which is really, really useful. I always carry a couple of these with me. Now, the other thing you're going to want, potentially, or rather one thing that I always like to carry with me, a little bit unusual, is a lighter. The reason being, I like using grenades. I like to use the Enola Gay EG-18s, and also as well, I like to use thunder flashes as well. One of the great things is a lot of the events I play are hosted by Urban Paintball. They have kill radius rules with the thunder flash grenades. If the grenade goes off within 2 meters of you, you're dead. So grenades can be really, really useful. The problem is, a lot of them are friction strike ones, or they are pull cord grenades, and you can't always guarantee they're going to work. Having a lighter on you means you can light them by hand if you need to. So this just goes in a pocket or a shoulder pouch, so that's very, very useful. So if you're going to use grenades, carry a lighter with you. Final thing that I carry with me sometimes, and you need to be a bit careful about this one because some sites won't allow you to carry it, is a multi-tool. Now, always check with the venue as to whether or not you're allowed to carry one of these on you. The reason being is that whenever you go through onto the field, you'll need to chronograph your gun. This of course means adjusting it and setting it up, which of course means you need tools. A lot of sites won't allow you to carry tools out onto the field. The reason being is it allows you to adjust your gun on the field, so you could potentially tune up, crank up the velocity. Having one of these, however, can be very useful if you have problems with your gun on the field, something comes loose, you need to tighten up, you've got leaking air, something like that. But like I say, always check with the venue there, always check with the staff as to whether or not you'll have to carry one of these on you. They may not allow it, in which case leave it in the staging area. Don't carry it with you if they say you're not allowed it, because of course you could potentially cheat or tune your gun up. Now, something else that I would recommend that you get for your mag-fed gun is a barrel with a larger bore. The one that I use here is a Lapco 10-inch big shot assault barrel. This is a .690 bore. The reason I recommend this is in order to help you prevent breaking paint. Now, my Milsig M17 Elite has a .686 bore barrel, which is pretty good. It's a nice intermediate bore, helps to prevent me from breaking too much paint. When you go to certain events, however, you may be stuck using the paint they have at that particular venue. Therefore, you can't guarantee how big or how small it is or how well it's going to match the bore of your gun. Having a .690 bore barrel helps you to account for that sort of thing, or if you get something like .692 or .695, fantastic. As long as you've got something separate that's going to allow you to prevent you from breaking so much paint, getting it allowed to get fewer barrel breaks. This is sort of good advice for pretty much any paintball gun, but especially important for mag-fed guns. Reason being, mag-fed paintball is very hard on paint. So get yourself a larger bore barrel. This, like I said, is a Lapco 10-inch big shot saw barrel. Very, very good quality barrel. Now, one final thing that I would recommend for mag-fed players, especially if you're going to play scenario games, is to get yourself a TAC Light for your mag-fed gun. Now I have one here attached on the side of my gun. This one here. This is attached as using just a standard Picatinny rail. If you're going to be playing scenario games where they're going to be playing night games, this is an absolute must. Not just for convenience of you being able to see, but also because a lot of scenario games where you play night games, having a TAC Light is mandatory. If you don't have one, you can't play. This one here is a really, really good one. This one is an LMJ-CN TAC Light. It's 1000 lumens, so it is super, super bright. It uses a 4 amp lithium polymer battery, so it's got really, really good long life. It doesn't have a strobe function, but that's not too bad because most sites don't allow you to use strobe function because it can potentially damage a person's eyesight. Super, super bright though, really, really good quality. Not only that, it comes with 2 different switches. You've got the standard switch on the back, just allow you to click it on and off. Not only that, you can remove that back cap and you can replace it with a pressure switch which is attached to a cable on the back, which is really useful because you can have it mounted on the grip of your gun or on side rail, so you can activate it with a thumb, which is really, really useful. That pretty much covers it for mag-fed gear and mag-fed equipment. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Hope that you've learned a little bit about mag-fed paintball. Leave me a comment in the description below as to what sort of gear and equipment that you use, and I'll see you guys next time.